Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Management, Leadership and Internal Organization, Chapter number 7, Part 1. Learning goals are: define management and three types of skills necessary for managerial success, explain the role of vision and ethical standards in business success, summarize the benefits of planning and distinguish strategic, tactical, and operating planning, describe the strategic planning process. What is management? Management is the process of achieving organizational objectives through people and other resources. Although some companies maintain a very simple structure and relationship with employees, many organizations have complex hierarchies that include multiple levels. Management fall into three levels: top, middle, and supervisory. Being a manager today involves many skills besides just a boss. So top management includes chief executive officer, chief financial officer, governor, mayor, etc. While middle management contains regional manager, division head, director, dean, etc. And supervisory first line management includes supervisor, department, chairperson, program manager, etc. Top management. The highest level of management is top management, which includes key executive, vice president, CEO, CFO, and other top managers. Activities at this level focus on the long-range directions of the organization. So top management has to develop long-range strategic plans for the organization, and top management has to inspire executive and employees to achieve their vision for the company's future. Middle management. Middle management includes Middle management includes general managers, plant managers, division managers, and branch managers. Middle managers focus on specific tasks and plans to implement the strategic plan that are more detailed than top managements. So it is obvious that middle management has to focus on specific operations, products, or customer groups within an organization. And middle management is responsible for developing detailed plans and procedures to implement the firm's strategic plans. Supervisory management. The first line managers are directly responsible for the customer relationships. Supervisory management includes supervisors, section chief, team leader, and store manager. These managers work directly with employees who do the work of the daily operation. So supervisory management has to implement the plans developed by middle managers. They are responsible for non-manager employees. So they have to motivate workers to accomplish daily, weekly, and monthly goals. Skills needed for management success. Managers must maintain and balance a toolbox of skills. They must be able to do the work they are managing. These technical skills are important. They must be able to connect with the lead employees using their human skills, and ultimately they must be able to see the big picture. Conceptual skills amid manager in understanding decisions for the entire organization. Technical skills mean managers' ability to understand and use the techniques, knowledge, and tools and equipment for a specific discipline or department. Human skills means interpersonal skills that enable a manager to work effectively with and through people. while conceptual skills are the ability. Conceptual skill means ability to see the organization as a unified whole and to understand how each part of overall organization interacts with other parts. Managerial functions. There are four key functions that managers perform. Each of these functions is different at every level of management, but these functions are all important to every manager. Manager must make plans for the company. They must organize workers and resources. They must also lead and direct the actions of employees. Finally, managers must constantly check the progress of plan, employees, and other goals. Controlling requires four steps: establishing performance, motivating performance, comparing the performance to the standard, and then take effective actions, and then take corrective action. Managerial functions is I've already described, but I explain it again. Planning means process of anticipating future events and conditions and determining courses of action for achieving organizational objectives. While organizing is blending human and material resources through a formal structure of authority. Directing is guiding and motivating employees to accomplish organizational objectives. Controlling is evaluating an organization's performance to determine whether it is accomplishing its objectives. And it can be done with four steps: establish performance standards, monitor actual performance, compare actual performance with established standards, and lastly, take corrective action if required. Setting a vision and ethical standards. A company's vision should be focused but flexible. Vision serves as the target for a firm's action. Vision should be combined with ethical standards that start with top management. There have been a number of public firms displaying unethical leadership in news. The publicity has hurt many firms, and some of them no longer exist due to their lapses in ethics. Ethics are an important long-term view for a firm and must be combined with the firm's vision. Vision is the perception of marketplace needs and the methods an organization can use to satisfy them. It must be focused yet adaptable to changes in the business environment. Long-term success is also tied to the ethical standards that the top management team sets. High ethical standards can also encourage, motivate, and inspire employees to achieve goals. Importance of planning. Planning is an important process that turns vision to the reality. It takes place at every level of the organization to align efforts from the mission statement to the daily operations. There are different types and levels of plans. Organizations should have a comprehensive planning framework from mission statement to objectives and goals, and narrow functional plans as well. Plans outline the steps the company will take to meet outlined goals and objectives. Planning at different organizational levels. The four levels of planning are conducted by different levels of managers. These different types of plans must be aligned to meet the company goals and objectives. So primary type of planning includes strategic, tactical, operational, and contingency. And for the strategic planning, we see that the managerial level is top management. An example is organizational objectives, fundamental strategies, long-term plan. Tactical planning, middle management has to do tactical planning. And the example is quarterly and semi-annual plans, departmental policies and procedures. While operational planning is done by supervisory management. So example for the supervisory management as supervisory planning is daily and weekly plans, rules and procedure for each department. Contingency planning is primarily done by top management, but all levels contribute. So ongoing plans for action and communication in an emergency is an example of contingency planning. The strategic planning process. The strategic planning process is broad and determines the overreaching focus and objectives of the entire organization. The first step in the strategic planning process is defining the company's mission statement. The mission is the written explanation of an organization's intention. The last step evaluates results and refine plan analyzes using data your success and failures. A company can then retool its planning process based on these results. During the strategic planning process, the organization must assess its competitive position. It must examine the factors that may help or hinder the organization. Once an organization has begun to focus its mission and identify opportunities, the firm will set objectives. Objectives are the guidepost by which managers define the organization's desired performance. Managers think about profitability, customer service growth, and employee satisfaction. Developing a mission statement and setting objectives point a business toward a specific destination. The firm then needs to map the strategies it must follow to compete with other companies pursuing similar mission and objectives. Once the 4 phases of the strategic planning process are complete, managers must implement them. They must identify specific points at which resources are needed. The final step in strategic planning process, which follows implementation, is monitoring and adapting plans. Monitoring requires matching performance with expectation with the final step is the strategic planning process which follows implementation. In monitoring is monitoring and adapting plans. Monitoring requires matching performance with expectation by adapting plans when performance fails. SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis is a tool to help the strategic planning process. The SWOT analysis is an organized approach to assessing a company's internal strengths and weaknesses and its external opportunities and threats. When we look into the strengths, one can see that state-of-the-art information system. An organization might be having a state-of-the-art information system that can be a strength. It has the economies of scale, it has patent protection, it has sales team, etc. These are all the strengths of an organization. While weaknesses can be such as lack of managerial depth, logistics limitations, financing constraints because of debt load, dated production facilities. And when we look into the opportunities can be such as new technologies, strategic alliances with vendors, new market extension of the existing product. And the threats can be such as changing buyer taste, enhanced competition, sole sourcing, new government regulations, etc. Thank you. That's all for today. Thank you.